Hello guys, good evening. Welcome back to our channel. So today in this video, as you already know, we are going to discuss about HighRadius Corporation interview questions. So in this video we'll be talking about the interview process, the salary that was offered, and about the technical question and about coding questions as well. So firstly, let us see the mail that we have received from our subscriber front. So hi team, I have selected in HighRadius interview. I have 5+ years of experience. There are two complete technical rounds, one tech slash manager round and a HR call. Below are the questions that I remember from the interview. Yeah, so to talk about the process, there were two technical rounds, one tech come manager round, and finally a HR call. And this video is for 5+ years candidate. So in this video, as we already mentioned, we will be talking about coding as well as the technical questions. And if you want to share your interview experience, please do reach out to the email that is there in the description so that it might help someone who is trying to prepare for the interviews and help them in cracking their interviews. So, and if you want to grab some Amazon opportunity, like some big discounts, you can click the Amazon link in the description as well. So, firstly, we'll be talking about the coding questions. So, here we go. So, this is the first question. Asked to find the smallest missing number. So input here is an array of numbers. So we have to find the smallest missing number from that array. So if you see here 2, 4, 6, 1. So 3 is missing, 1, 2, 3. And 5 is also missing from the array. Like 1 and 6 are the 1 is the least number and 6 is the highest number. If you consider that 3 and 5 are missing. And to as it was to find the smallest missing number, we have gone for 3. So we have to write that. So in the upcoming videos we'll share the solution as well. So coming to the next question, ask to implement a REST API to update a resource. So we have to write the code, like basically put call to update a resource. Next, using Java 8 streams, find the highest salary employee. So it is a bit easy. Obviously, if you are well versed with the predefined methods that are already present. Next is, so there was one more question, I think. Oh, yeah, okay. So these were the four questions that were asked as part of the coding, like coding section. So in the mail there was a separate section like coding. So sorry, three questions. Like one was to find the smallest number, second was to implement the REST API, and third was to find the highest salary using Java 8. So now we'll talk about the oral questions. So first question, like self-introduction, roles and responsibilities, and about the current project. Obviously, in any round, if you are an experienced candidate, this would be the first question that you will encounter out of these three things. One you will definitely encounter, and to get selected, you have to be very confident while you are answering this. So be prepared in advance while attending the interviews. So next question is, how actuator in Spring Boot is configured? What are its benefit? So to that, firstly we can talk about the configuration part. Like we need to have the dependency of Spring Boot starter actuator. Then in the application.properties file, we need to disable the security for actuator endpoints, like management.security.enabled equal to false. And if you want to use the separate port number for accessing the Spring Boot actuator endpoints and the management port number in application, so like we need to change the management.port equal to whatever port number we want to give, you want to access. And what is Spring Boot Actuator? So Actuator brings production ready features to our application. Monitoring our app, gathering metrics, understanding traffic or the state of our database becomes trivial with with this dependence. The main benefit of this library is that we can get production grade tools without having to actually implement these features ourselves. Actuator is mainly used to expose operational information about the running application, like health, matrices, info, dump, environment, etc. It uses HTTP endpoints or JMX beans to enable us to interact with it. Once this dependency is in the class path, several endpoints are available for us out of the box. As with most Spring modules, we can easily configure or extend it in many ways. For few examples are health, like slash health slash env, like environment slash beans slash heap dump slash shutdown. So what does slash health does? Summarizes the health status of our application. It gives the overall view of our health of the application. Slash env returns the current environment properties. Additionally, we can retrieve the single properties as well. Beans returns all the available beans in the application, like bean factory, heap dump builds and returns a dump from the JVM that our application is using, and shutdown from the graceful shutdown of our application. So this was about the Spring Boot actuator, like configuring it and what we can answer. So next question, it is also related to Spring Boot. What is DevTools and how it is helpful? So before getting into the answer, if you haven't subscribed us, please do subscribe. Please do like the video. It will definitely motivate us as well. So coming to answer. So here is the answer. DevTools stands for Developer Tools. The main aim of the module is to try and improve the development time while working with the Spring Boot application. Spring Boot DevTools pick up the changes and restart the application. We can implement the DevTools in our project by adding the following dependency in the POM. So by basically Spring Boot DevTools, there is a dependency that we need to add, and the scope should be the runtime. So Spring Boot DevTools provide the following features like property defaults, automatic restart, live reload, remote debug, tunneling, remote update and restart. And coming to property defaults, when we use the Spring Boot DevTools module, during the development, caching of Themely or free marker, Groovy templates are automatically disabled. And coming to auto restart, like auto restart means reloading of Java classes and configure it at server side. After the server side changes, it deployed dynamically, server restart happens and load the modified code. Live reload is also known as auto refresh. So here what happened, the Spring Boot DevTools module includes an embedded server called live reload. It allows the application to automatically trigger a browser refresh whenever we make changes in the resources. So it is also known as auto refresh. Remote debug tunneling. Spring Boot can tunnel JDWP, which stands for Java Debug Wire Protocol, over HTTP directly to the application. It can even work application deployment to internet cloud providers that are exposed port at ATN 443. Remote update and restart. There is another trick that DevTools offer, that is supports remote application updates and restarts. It monitors the local class path for file changes and pushes them to remote server, which can then restart it. We can also use this feature in combination with live reload. So this was about DevTools. Next question, it is also from Spring or Spring Boot, you can say, the difference between YAML versus dot properties file. So as per my knowledge, these are the at least some of the differences. Dot properties file stores the data in sequential format, whereas dot YAML stores it in hierarchical format. Properties supports, like dot properties supports only key value pairs, basically string values, whereas dot YAML supports key value pair as well as map, list, scalar type values. Dot properties is specially used by Java, whereas YAML can be used with other languages as well, like Python, ROR, like other languages as well. When mapping multiple configuration profiles, then dot properties requires you to create dot properties file per each profile. Wherein YAML you can create a selection like section for each profile specific inside a single dot YAML file. And one thing here is to notice, at the rate property resource annotation only can be used with dot properties file. So these are few differences which we can talk about when we encounter such type of questions. Next question, what is the difference between patch and put? This is related to REST. So in simple words, put is a method of modifying a resource where the client sends the data and updates the entire resource. Patch, like on the other hand, patch is a method of modifying resource where the client sends partial data that is to be updated without modifying the entire data. So this is the difference. So like input, we need to send the entire JSON which we are updating, and in patch we can send a certain section that needs to be updated. Next, internal implementation of hash map. So need to talk about how key value pairs are stored, about hashing, about equals method, about hash code method, importance of like about hash collisions, and about how get operation works, importance of hash code and equals method. So all these things we need to talk. Next is how to configure global exception handler. So using at the rate controller advice annotation at class level and at the rate exception handler at the method level, we can definitely configure the global exceptions. Next question, how to solve circular dependency. So first, let me claim that circular dependencies are bad. No matter whether you use Spring or not, you should refactor your code in order to get rid of them. Now, the solution to the problem, as far as I know, Spring will fail to handle circular dependency only when we use constructor injection. So when we let Spring inject the dependency by property or by setter injection, it should work. Another way to break the cycle is by telling Spring to initialize one of the beans lazily by using the lazy annotation. So instead of fully initializing the bean, it will create a inject proxy to the inject into the other bean. The injected bean will only be fully created once it is first needed. So this is how this is about the circular dependency, like what it is and how to get rid of it. Now next question: how to interact to microservice, what is the best way to do? So it depends upon your requirement. We can use Fiend client, we can use Saga pattern, or we can use REST template as well. So it's up to you, like how your application, like what your application is you being used, that you need to talk about. Next, ask to create a custom annotation. So here is the example that where we have created a custom annotation at the rate traceable, which ideally logs the information before and after. Like, along with the Spring AOP, we use this and we can log the information. This is from my project, so I have copy pasted the code from that only. So here, if you see at the target, the above annotation defines the where the apply where to apply the annotation. So in our case, it is at method level. So we give element dot method as parameter, and at the rate retention denotes when to apply this annotation. In our case, it is the runtime. So that's how we define. So we need to have at the rate interface as well. So that's how we create a custom annotation. Next question asked about Spring Boot transaction working, what the isolation and propagation levels. So ideally, when we talk about Spring transaction, Spring, so there are ideally two types. Like one is declarative, and other is programmatic transaction management. And coming to propagation, it defines how the transaction relates to each other. Common options like requires new. So required will tell code will always run in transaction, creates a new transaction and reuse one if available. Creates requires underscore new, code will always run in a new transaction, suspends the current transaction if one exits. The default value of a transaction is required, and this is how often you want. And coming to isolation, defines the data contract between the transaction. So there are four types of isolations, like isolation read uncommitted, isolation read committed, isolation repeatable read, isolation serializable. So we need to talk about all those things. Next is query to find the third highest salary. So I have just tried this, and it will work definitely. So there are a number of ways to achieve this. So one of the ways is this query. This will also work even with the duplicates. If there are duplicate salaries as well, even then it will work. So now next question, it's on future versus completable future. So completable future is a new enhancement that got enhanced in Java 8. From Java 8 we have this class, and it ideally implements the future interface class as well. So here is the answer. Java's future is a placeholder to hold something that will be completed in future without blocking API. You will have to use it, its is done method, to poll it periodically to check if the task is finished. Certainly, you can implement your own asynchronous code to manage the polling logic. However, it incurs more boilerplate code and debug overhead. Java's completable feature is innovated by Scala's future. It carries an internal callback method. Once it is finished, the callback method will be triggered and tell the thread that the downstream operation should be executed. That's why it has then apply method to do further operation on the object wrapped in the completable future. There is no scope to run multiple dependent tasks in non-blocking fashion with future, whereas completable future class can provide the functionality to chain multiple dependent tasks that run asynchronously. So we can create a chain of tasks where the next task is triggered when the result of the current task is available. So these are few things to talk about future and completable future. Next question is from hibernatable questions on many to many and one to many mapping. So you have to give in detail explanation, and it would be better if you take real time examples from your projects or your previous projects. It will give a good impression, like you have hands-on experience on that. And this is the final question: how to maintain transaction when multiple service calls are involved. So again, it depends, like we can use Saga, I believe, like because we in our current project use that. So I would go with the Saga pattern. You can have two-phase commit as well. So it depends again on the project to project and requirement to requirement. So these were the questions that were asked as part of HighRadius Corporation interview thing. So here is a complete mail. So the current salary was 13.5 and offered salary is 26.5, as I was holding other offers as well. So from 13 to 26 for 5 years of experience candidate is a very good salary. So I hope you enjoyed the video or the questions that has been shared in this video, and I wish that these questions should be helpful to someone, at least few people, in their interview preparation. So if you haven't subscribed us, please do subscribe, please do like, share, and provide the feedback in the comment section. Please do share it to other technical platforms as well, so that it might help someone who is looking out for similar kind of videos. So if you're on our channel for the first time and wondering who are we and what we do, so we are ideally a bunch of software engineers who attend interviews and share our real-time interview experiences. And apart from that, we also share our subscriber friend interview experiences through these channels. And if you're wondering, like, what are the channel names, what are the company names that are getting printed on your screen, so we have already shared these interviews on our channel. You can visit our channel and definitely you'll get benefits in your interview preparation. So that's it in this video. Thank you and have a great day.